Wahoo Warrior. Gonna have a 1,000 point game for my first 1,000 point game of the British against the Germans. Playing here today at Lincoln at Gauntlet Games. I'm gonna go over my army list real quick. Basically, it's going to be a British 1,000 point, lots of infantry list, and I got 2 second lieutenants, so 2 reinforced platoons here and here. They have submachine guns. These are 25 pounders. I don't have the models yet. I ordered them about a week ago. They haven't come yet. So I'm proxying two guns here for the 25 pounders, and that's a light howitzer with a light anti-tank. This is a heavy howitzer, although it's actually a model of a medium howitzer, or mortar, heavy mortar, inexperienced with a spotter. And both these guns also have spotters. These are my standing spotters. They're Germans, so let's see how they do for me. Then I've got 2 9-man squads. I'm doing the rapid rifle rule, so 2 9-man rifle squads here and here. And then I have 4 6-man squads of rifles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all regulars. And then I have 2 Piat teams here. Piat team. I have a light mortar regular. And then 2 6-man commando squads. So lots of little units, which is not my normal play style with the Germans. Usually take elite stuff. So we'll see how it works. This is my opponent today. His name's Trainer. Hello, Trainer. If you could go over your army list for me.
Sure. I got 2 Volksgrenadier squads, just playing with assault rifles. Wehrmacht squad with an LMG, 2 assault rifles, and an SMG for the NCO, and an SMG for another guy. First lieutenant with bodyguard, I guess. And then I got a Waffen SS squad, 2 assault rifles, 3 Panzerfaust, a Fanatics SMG here, regular Panzer 4H, regular Puma, and a regular.
Okay, and then the Panzer 4H is a medium tank with a heavy anti-tank gun. Okay, and then Sure-skin skirts.
Yeah, they have the shirts and suits.
Okay.
Points.
And Puma has recce.
Yeah, it has all the recce rules in addition to having a medium anti-tank gun and coax MG, and it can move back as fast as it can move forward.
Because dual directional steering. Okay.
Yep. And then this is just a regular monologue with the whole mounted MG as long as there's a squad inside.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, my lieutenants are both second lieutenants, and they're both regular. So I'm cheaped out on them. And then here's our terrain today. I'm going to get a good view of the board, and we'll just go over so we're on the same page. Wheat fields don't block line of sight, but they're -1 if you're firing 2 inches through them, and you can run through them and everything. Ruin building.
Hard cover.
It's hard cover, so it's rough terrain.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the woods are rough terrain, and they block line of sight if you're shooting through more than 2 inches of them.
Yep. So to say these are areas right now.
Yeah, the edges will be counting as the woods. And then we got a road that runs all the way through. We're a little bit short, but we're just saying it goes all the way through. And a couple small hills. They're nothing major, but might block some infantry line of sight maybe.
And these are ruins, so they're not. We're not going to.
You don't get the 6-up building rule.
Yeah, we're not going to apply the building rules.
Just ruins. So it gives you the hard cover and rough terrain, so you can't run through it. You have to advance through it and whatnot. So I think that covers all the terrain. So we're going to roll up a scenario and see what we got. We rolled a scenario, and it's one where one person can move stuff off the back of the board, as well as there's points for scoring, killing stuff, and whatnot. Trainer elected to be the defender. Neither one of us had played this scenario before. Had I known kind of how the scenario would roll out, we probably would have just played something a little different. We talked about that, and I'll talk about that towards the end. But that's what we ended up with. Neither one of us had played it. So that being said, I put everything in my first wave except for 2 units of 6-man infantry and my 2 commandos. I leave them off the board. I write them down 2 squads to the left, 2 squads to the right. We do our preparatory bombardment, and I get a roll, since I'm British, 2 dice to keep the best, and I get a 6 on the Hanamag, and I'm able to explode it. So that really kind of screws his SS as far as being able to shoot over and get into some quick hand-to-hand close quarters. They have to bail out and go down, and they lose a couple men in the process. Then we start pulling order dice after. All right, he takes a couple pins on some of his other. Nothing else got hit, but took a few pins. So we pull order dice, and I moved my 25 pounder in. I proxy 25 pounder. I move my heavy mortar in. I have some spotters. You can kind of see one there in the tree line up there on top of that hill. And his lieutenant, I believe, rallies. Or I believe he rallied. I go ahead and bring my other 25 pounder in here. I figure just a nice wide open. And when I start moving stuff in, I'm not even sure what the heck I'm going to do. Looks like he clears some pin markers off of his regular infantry in the wheat field. So I bring my 9-man squad in, and I move them in to the left of this hill. And then I move my other 9-man in, and I keep them both on the left side of the board, with this one behind these woods. And then I bring a lieutenant in to help that unit out. And then I bring another lieutenant in to kind of hang out behind that unit. So as I'm going along placing, I'm just kind of like trying to come up with a strategy. And I'm figuring I'm going to try to overload the left, but I need to put something over here to keep these assets of his in place. So I bring a 6-man in there, and I bring another 6-man in here. And like I said, I've got 2 commando units and 2 other units off the board. I bring a Piat team in here in case that Panzer IV decides to just drive straight down the road. His Puma does a advance order and fires a medium machine gun. And I believe he misses. I advance a Piat team in, and I go to take a shot at it, and of course he recce's back out of range. And that Puma still has 1 pin on it. That didn't help him. He had 2, but he has 1 now. Then I bring a light mortar team in at a run, and that's it. Pull the rest of the dice out of the bag, realize I got 1 extra. And I go, oh, I got a forward artillery observer who is hiding in this tree, so I place the marker right there. And that's where we end up at the end of turn 1. Alright, that ends turn 1. Basically, the whole British first wave coming in. The British special rule, the special prep bombardment, I was able to roll 2 dice and I got a 6. I let the half-track kind of have it. And SS squad, that's the SS, right? Mm-hmm. They come bailing out.
Yep. 2 died.
And then other than that, just some pins, which most of those he passed all his checks, so he started to remove some pins off of there. And that's where we stand at the end of turn 1. So, any thoughts there, trainer?
Losing my half track sucked.
Yeah, it does suck. Yep. Alright, so we're going to go to turn 2. Yep. Trainer pulls first dice and he moves his SS squad up here, kind of heading towards that ruined structure. And then I realize we haven't done our order, so I promptly roll a 1 for him as far as the artillery, and he moves it over here, and he hits that squad even though they went down, and they killed 2 and put 3 pin markers on there. The artillery observer, deservedly so, gets a 6 on him, and he's deceased. And then the Piat team, I think, took 1 pin marker. So that's 2 games. Of the 2 games I've taken it, 2 games I managed to shoot myself with it. So, yay. Then he pulls an order dice on his Puma, and he fails his order check, needing a 8. And so he has to do a move backwards, so he just kind of bumps up against the back of the board. And then the mighty Panzer IV comes in, advancing. And there's a nice prime infantry target in front of him, and he lets him have 2 machine guns. And even though he's moving, I can't afford to go down. I need to be moving, and I lose 2 guys and take a pin. His lieutenant with 1 pin marker actually rolls an 11, so he has to go down. I move this 6-man squad up here. I go ahead and fire my anti-tank gun, which is only +3 penetration in this range, but I just miss. I'm just trying to get a pin on that Panzer and maybe hopefully get lucky. I fire my mortar at, I think, his unit in the field, and I roll a 5, so I miss with that. These guys just, I think, go down. They're still hidden as of per the special rule. He puts a down order on his what are they? The green guys with all the assault rifles, Volks grenadiers, and then I go ahead and move this 6-man, or actually it's a 9-man squad, but now they lost a couple, so they come through the brush, through like the little gap in the trees. Then I move my other full squad up there. The lieutenant decides to come over, get all these lieutenants here to help out, and go ahead and fire this bad boy. And I fired at some infantry, and I just missed. I think I fired indirect. Yeah, I did. I fired indirect and I missed. because those guys are hidden, so you can still hit with a 6. And yeah, so and then he just goes down with another Wolf's Grenadiers unit, so he's keeping them off. And I keep forgetting about his guys. My guys, I end up putting some down orders on them. And with my other, that's a Piat team, they're coming up. Then my lieutenant comes up, so I'm just kind of trying to push left around around this forest area. I run my Piat team kind of to get in a position where they can't be shot by that infantry squad. These guys failed their order check because the pin marker and just side go down. And then that's pretty much overview of that turn. Actually, started turn 3. I didn't get a video in between. Trainer and I have never met before, and we were just kind of in the groove playing. We also had a couple other people coming up and talking, so we just want to keep playing. And he actually fails an order check with these guys, even though he pulled the dice. I have way more dice than him, but he pulled an order check, and that really hurts. When you pull the order dice and you've got that one lingering pin on you from that bombardment, and you fail because his lieutenant didn't get over because he had failed on 11. So now I've got the momentum since those guys are frozen in place. I fire my howitzer, needing a 5 that turn, and I miss. His Panzer activates. He's going to try to help out his squad that went down by putting some shots on these guys, but he only does 1 wound. And then I go ahead and fire at the side of his tank, needing I think a 5, and I roll a 2, so I miss. Start trying to fire my mortar. I'm getting close with these 5s, but switching targets and whatnot. So I'll need a 4. Or I needed a 5. No, I need a 4 on the next phase. So I go ahead and I advance up to the side of this building, and he's still got hard cover over there, and he's down. So I think I get a pin on with all my shots. These guys advance up, and they're doing the same thing, needing like 6s or 6s, I think, maybe 7s to hit. So I think I still ended up getting a pin marker. I was rolling pretty good with the rifles. And these guys on the hill also shot at those guys, not doing anything other than trying to put a few pin markers down because I don't have very good shooting. I don't want to rush close to him. He holds these guys back again. I believe they failed a roll to come in. Advance my Piat team up, and he did pass with this other one, so he brings them in. And this is an all assault rifles green squad. And they fire at these guys in the wheat field. They're kind of trying to edge around, and he's able to put a pin and kill 2. And the Puma comes racing over. That thing's a speed demon. Comes over and opens up with a machine gun. And or no, he ran, so he wasn't able to shoot. I fail an order check with those 4 remaining guys. His lieutenant passes and moves up to try to help those guys pass their next order check. I've got 2 pins on them now. They had 1, now they have 2. These guys say are done waiting around, so they start advancing up. And I'm again putting all my down on these guys. And this is something here that I'll take a minute and talk about. Yeah, Trainer and I did not communicate very well with what I was doing in my off reserves, because he had reserves too, and he was leaving them on there quite a bit. And kind of later in the game, he hasn't played very many games, and his miniatures were so well painted, and that he's familiar with many game systems, and he's a tabletop war gamer, and I had made some assumptions that he had played more games than he had, and he wasn't super familiar with the reinforcement rule where you can outflank. And then as soon as this actually outflanking happens, as you'll see, it's kind of like, oh well, what the hell. Now it's really hard for him, because it's going to be tough for him to win with the victory conditions. And when I started moving my guys down the side, I wasn't really thinking that, because I'd planned to do that with the commandos anyway, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I've got all those guys there, and I didn't communicate very well what I was going to do. So here it starts to get where the pivotal point. I am definitely afraid of these SS with the fanatics. They'll just murder my guys in their regular or their veteran and whatnot. So I could say, what the hell? I advance these guys up, and where they're at, we have to be an inch away from him. So He's got some cover. He's not down though, and he doesn't want to take a down order. So I still need like really high rolls to hit him because I moved. I'm point blank, select counter, so it's -2, I think, but and I need 5s to wound. I kill everybody but one guy. I had 10 shots, and I kill like 6 guys. It was crazy. The rolling I was doing was out of this world. So the one remaining guy, though, he passes his check, so he stays. But that was a huge pivotal moment. The Lee Enfield power from point blank that defied mathematical odds. So trainers, that really hurt, but he's gonna give it his go here, and he advances those guys, and he's able to assault rifle them and kill 4. So he's rolling back at me, and I fail my check on an 11. So that squad vacates the board. They take off. This guy goes ahead and takes another, like that Panzer is just giving him his flank, firing those machine guns, and I miss there. He's firing turret mount medium machine gun at that unit that he's pointing at, and then he's firing a whole mount at the guys, I think, at the top of the hill, because he went ahead. He did take the penalty to move to get out of the flank. My lieutenant squad with the submachine guns move up there. I think I do try to shoot at that veteran guy, but I missed. These guys have just advanced up. They pass, and the one thing about the Volks Grenaders is that you kill him on a 3-up. He doesn't make his roll to become anything better, so he's still inexperienced. This guy, I think he's firing direct or indirect. I don't know, I'm rolling 2s. It ain't gonna matter what I'm shooting at, but I think I shot at his lieutenant. I think I shot at him. Yeah, so just he's trying to battle back. I'm firing the mortar here, and trying to hit these guys in the field here. I just put some suppression on them, but I missed with a 2. And my Piat team is just kind of dancing around, so they run over here, and looks like I got an order dice on that squad on top of the hill, and they might have failed their check and gone down up there. Advance this light mortar over here, and I punk a little mortar towards those guys, and I miss. Puma opens up with his machine gun, and there's only 2 guys left there. This is a Piat team, and they're firing at that Panzer, needing like a 6 to hit it. So there I start bringing these guys in on the side. That's a commando squad there, and I pass my check because they don't take the -1. And that's one of the reasons I brought commandos. And at this point, you know, trainer's like, wow, there's no way I'm going to be able to stop 4 squads from running off the back of the board. Each of those would score 3 points. And we kind of take a little short break, and we talk about it, because when I had moved those guys in, I hadn't really thought about running off the back of the board. I wanted them in an advantageous situation. I had lots of guys to do that with, but yeah. So I mean, I concurred with him. It's like, well, yeah, that really. So in hindsight, we probably should have played a scenario like a modified, and that's what I think we're going to play in the future, is a modified maximum attrition, and put a couple tokens in the kind of the center area of the board where you can gain +2 points for each token that you control at the end of the game. I think that'd be pretty exciting, in that you get 1 per thing you capture, but then there's also bonus ones in the middle. But Trainer's a trooper. He's done a really good job with what he had. As far as I had a lucky roll in the bombardment, and I had some crazy Lee Enfield shooting. He's still putting up a fight though, so we're gonna continue going. And he rolls his check to bring his Volks Grenaders on. And even though they're so close, he only kills 2, but he does kill the NCO. I fail with this unit, and they were trying to come in on the right. And I rally these guys, finally, the whole game. They've been pinned by my own artillery, so they rally. This is like 1 guy left here. Looks like they took another casualty. And yeah, I bring these commandos in on the right, and I take a couple shots of those guys in the woods there. His lieutenant executes that last remaining man. My commandos on the next, so this is like the next turn. I brought those other guys in there. It looks like we missed some stuff there. So we kind of got to talking, but I had brought that other squad in. In hindsight, I should have brought them in a little closer to the commandos, but so we're going to the next turn, and I failed my order check, needing a 9 or 8 because I have a dead NCO. So that gives him some hope, and then you know, if he can wipe out that unit, maybe he can, because the regulars back there aren't nearly as powerful. He's got all assault rifles. I don't want to fight him hand to hand. Maybe the commandos would, but not if I went first, you know. But so yeah, I got a decision to make, but hoping that I pull order dice. I've got quite a bit more order dice than him. I am able to pull the next dice, and I'm torn between charging into hand-to-hand. I kind of do a mental math and decide to advance up to basically point-blank range, and I fire at those guys, and I kill all of them. So that's 8 shots at point-blank, needing 3s to kill. So now my lieutenant comes running up there with like a free path off the board, and at this point, you know, trainer knows that I'm going to score a lot of points by running stuff off, but we're still just kind of playing it out. Puma's giving the best hope. You know, best he can do is put some pins on and hope I fail some checks. And yeah, this cannon is still just plugging away, not able to hit anything. And the Panzer just turns and eliminates that unit. So that's one thing that'll stay out of his deployment zone, and one thing that won't get off the board. Fire this bad boy at, I'm firing at that infantry in the wheat field now, and I'm missing. These guys are, I'm using that building to just kind of hide from him more than anything. And so then I'm just firing some mortars and whatnot, and you know, I think we still had another turn or two, but we were kind of did the math with the, I brought that other unit in on the right, and it's like, well, I'm gonna win by just avoiding getting my little units over here killed, and but so, and that's, and, you know, it's unfortunate because out of all the games that I've played a bolt action, I think this is my 13th battle report, which, so maybe, you know, unlucky number 13 has something to do with it. Every other game I played, it's usually come down to, you know, some close endings or some very dramatic endings, and this particular scenario, didn't care for it in that, you know, it kind of took the generalship of my opponent out of the equation. He was doing the best he could do, but due to the, I like scenarios, don't get me wrong. I think it encourages diversity of army lists, and you know, trainer's list was very specific, mobile, hard hitting, and in other situations it would have really done a number to me. But I like the idea of my list with all the different order dice. It really helped in key moments to have that math on your side, be able to pull those dice when you need them. But I am looking forward to a rematch with maybe a new scenario, one that really pits our abilities against each other more so than the ability to win within the particular lopsided rule set. Probably would have been better if Trainer would have been the attacker, but then again, he could have done basically the same thing. He could have put his lieutenant and a squad in the half track and kept him off the board until turn 5, drove in and drove off the back and scored 9 points. And then I couldn't have killed anything of his because he's only got six units. So, you know, maybe if we modified that scenario and made it so you couldn't score with those units, I don't know. We'll play a new one. But yeah, star of the match is my enfield bolt action unit there, rolling like a bomb, like a boss. Really did a number on the SS. But well, that's going to be the end of the report. Looks like I got a baby to bed. So thank you for watching. And should have a new one up next week. Got a game, I think, again in Lincoln on Wednesday.